Hey tomatoes, you're looking great. So here are my tomato seedlings and they are starting to look pretty good. So I'm going to want to pot those up pretty soon into a larger container. So you'll see that the seedling itself is, about the same size or maybe even a little larger. And so I just want to make sure that these guys have enough root systems down below to go up into a larger container. What I wanted to show you here is they're getting pretty tall. They have nice thick stems, and actually you'll notice that there's a little discoloration on these little guys. And so what I'm going to do is just pop those off. The way I like to loosen these out of their containers, if they're kind of big and healthy like this, is I sort of smush the bottoms. And then this is hard to do with one hand, so I kind of loosened it beforehand. But what I'll do is I'll actually tip the tray sideways and then slide it out. I did that earlier, and what I found was, do you see how this is just holding together? It's not tons and tons of roots, so it's not pot bound or overly thick, but they're just enough. So this is the perfect size to pot up in a container. And you'll notice this stem is pretty long. So when I pot up into the next container, what I'll be doing is planting it kind of at a deeper level. The tomato stem will re-root out the sides, and it'll just make a healthy, really sturdy, compact plant that will then continue to grow. But this is looking very good, and I'm excited to get these in bigger pots. Luckily, a lot of these are going to other places, so it's not just my garden that's going to have to fit 75 tomatoes. But you'll notice all these guys are looking pretty good. There's a couple younger ones, like down here, and what I'll do is I'll probably just leave those ones to grow up and bulk up a little bit more. One of the tricks for doing tomato start successfully is you do not want them saturated with water. So right now it's early morning, and this is a great time to water your tomato starts. So I'll water them kind of lightly, and then I'll mostly let them dry out during the day. If they're too dry mid-afternoon, you can add a little bit more water, but you kind of want it to be almost dry by evening, and they want to go through the evening sort of drier, or the soil a little bit drier. You can kind of see that. So this is ready for a water now. But the trick with especially young tomatoes that don't have a lot of root mass is it's really easy for them the soil to get overwhelmed with water. It gets super saturated and it loses the air, and that actually stunts the growth of the tomatoes. And so you want to be really careful about over watering. You want it to kind of be lightly dry, especially with young starts like this that don't have the root mass to kind of handle that amount of water. Larger starts like this one back here can mostly take a lot of water. Try not to water the leaves as much. So keeping the leaves dry is a great way to prevent disease. And it's not possible with these little guys, but try as best you can to kind of water the soil. And then also, if you're spot watering, I would just kind of avoid younger seedlings. Don't give them as much water if you can. So what that looks like is a watering can. I'll just water these guys kind of in a row. But if I see one that happens to be a little bit small, or an area that happens to have smaller plants, this tray is a good example. There's actually a number of smaller ones. So I will just leave those guys and not water them quite as much as I will these ones that are looking quite good.